All right, we're going to keep this short, sharp, and sweet. Today, we are looking at a full top-down pros and cons review of the Hobie Lynx. It's the newest addition to the Hobie kayak market, and after a few sessions of it out on the water, I'm going to talk about the good, the bad, the ugly, and as always on this channel, we have a giveaway. So, let's get into it. When I first saw this Hobie Lynx, I got really excited because I thought to myself, this is the type of kayak that I could get lost in the Australian bushland with. So that's exactly what I did. When I got my hands on one, I packed my car, threw the kayak onto the roof and went away for the weekend. I went camping. So I'll show you some of the shots of that now, and you'll see the Hobie Lynx here on the water. I've got about 60 seconds of footage, and then we'll break down the info and break down the kayak together. So that was the Hobie Lynx, and that was the weekend camping away at the Australian Bream Challenge. Now, there was 2 reels in there that are yet to hit the market, as well as a lure that I was using, and there's full reviews on that stuff to come as well. So if you're interested in that, you know the buttons to push. So if you've been around the kayaking space for a little while, I think one of the big things that will jump out at you is the general shape of this kayak. It's not like a general kayak that we typically see. It's very much like a stand-up paddleboard, and in my opinion, it's definitely a bit of a cross between them both. It takes a really nice leisure space out of that sup area and then combines it with the kayaking kind of exploration mirage drive aspects there. The fact is that whilst that Lynx does have that sup shape, that's really where the similarities stop. The Lynx does have channels underneath that do help it direct the flow of water and track straight. And you've also got the shaped nose, which is raised out of the water and does go some way to cut through and add a bit of speed. There's a steerable rudder on the back that does work really well. And of course, you've got that MD 180 drive that is Hobie's flagship that propels the kayak. Now, truthfully, for that heavy price tag of $2,700 US or 4,200 Australian, sorry, I've got to remember all of this, you'd expect the premium products on this for the price that you are paying. So they've got that flagship Mirage drive in there, and I think that's a good thing. The other really good thing about this is the hull weight in total. It is 45 pound or just over 20 kilo, 20.4 kilo to carry. A friend of mine did pick it up with one hand. Realistically, I reckon you need 2, but it is 30% lighter than the Hobie Passport 10.5. That is arguably the smallest kayak, and the kayak that I typically would have been recommending to someone traveling around the country on a motorhome. I actually don't recommend the Hobie Passport. The reasons why are in this video. The Hobie Passport 12.0 is a much better kayak, but when you compare the Lynx to the 10.5, it's 30% lighter at 20 kilo, and that makes it really easy to car top and load and unload, and I think that's awesome. Disassembled, the Lynx is basically 3 pieces. You've got the base, the main bit of the kayak, the seat and the rudder that I guess are one, and the Mirage drive. So when it's all packed up in the car, it takes minimal space. And when it's in this configuration and all clean skin, the Lynx itself can be flat packed, so you can stack them on top of each other. But you can see here on mine, I added the Lynx side rails, the H-Rails, that I think are a must, and I would not own a Hobie Lynx without those Lynx H-Rails on the side there. You can get them for free in a deal that I mentioned earlier, later, so definitely stick around for that. For those of you that are fishing enthusiasts, yes, the Lynx is power pole and live well compatible, but these aren't a must-have if you're not serious about fishing. The rudder and the rudder lines are fully contained within a protective sheath, and one of the best things about the Lynx is that steering handle itself. You can move from the left-hand side to the right-hand side and steer with whichever hand that you prefer. To deploy and restow the rudder, you simply tug the line here and it does its thing. You tug it once to send it out, and then you tug it again and it'll come back in. It's simple and easy, and I'm a huge fan of it. So if you look at all those things together, it's lightweight, it's got that MD180 drive, and it really compacts into those three pieces, then you get a bit of an idea about what customer the Hobie are trying to really target here. It's really that the sun is great outside, let's grab the kayak, throw it onto the top of the car, and let's get out and enjoy the water. Now, talking about the water, let's talk about how it performs on the water. So on the water, one of the first things that stuck out to me was the amount of sheer water that the Hobie Lynx was able to float in. And I reckon it was able to float in around about 2 inches of water. One of the really cool things about that was that when I was fishing, I didn't really get caught up in weed. And if you're the type of fisherman that is going after bass and wants to push your kayak through pads or weed beds and not get tangled up, well, the Hobie Lynx is really good for that. Because there wasn't a lot of hull in the water, there is a bit of downside though, and I'll get to that when I get to the constructive part. Secondly, there's no in-hull access, so there's no in-hull storage, and again, there is a constructive part about that. But the good thing here is that if your kids are playing on it and they flip the Lynx upside down, maybe they're jumping off into the water and just enjoying the day, you don't have to worry about the Lynx sinking or getting waterlogged. They can just flip it back upright and they'll be good to go. The kayak turned in a really nice tight circle, and because it had that MD180, you can go forward and backwards with the click of the hand. The kayak was really quite enjoyable to use on the water, and I can definitely see my 2 kids, my wife and I, playing around on it. So now I've talked about how it's on the water, there are a couple of design features that tell us who this kayak would be perfect for. The first thing you should look at is the bow of the kayak. Now, you'll notice that it's pointed and raised out of the water, and this means that it will travel well. The vessel is going to glide and cut through the water nicely, but when you compare it to other kayaks in the range, the Lynx bow isn't as pointed as, say, the Outback or the Compass. And when I was fishing with my 2 friends that own a Pro Angler and a Compass, I did find that I had to pedal harder to keep up with them. Now, what this design told me was that whilst the Hobie Lynx is designed to go places and be enjoyable on the water, it's not the Hobie endurance kayak that's designed to go 20 kilometers or 15 miles in a day. Secondly, whilst the Lynx is stable in good weather, in bad weather, in heavy wind, I did find that it got pushed around and did slide and skid across the top of the water. Now, the channels underneath do help with keeping it straight and making it track straight, but there's simply not enough hull in the water. So when the weather kicked up, of course, I took the opportunity to go out and test it, and I had a lot of fun doing that. To be honest though, if it was my wife, I think she would have been scared to be in that weather. So if you put those 2 points together, the so what of that is that the Hobie Lynx is not your offshore kayak designed to take waves. It's also not the kayak that's going to go far in an endurance application, and it's not your bad weather kayak. There are just better kayaks out there. If you want to tackle those things, go buy a kayak, not a SUP hybrid kayak. Now that I've said that, I'm sure you find some people on social media that will take this kayak to the extremes and offshore and what have you. But I think realistically, this kayak is the leisure kayak that's not designed to push the limits. Now, the more I think about it, one of the major points that you're going to need to consider if you purchase this kayak is that there is no in-hull or dry storage. So if you want anything with you, you're going to need to think about a dry bag, like the one that my wife and I are testing here. It's a North Storm bag, and you might see a review on that later. When I was filming by myself, and I'll show you some shots here, you'll notice that I actually had a tough case with me, and that kept my drone and camera gear dry as well. The other option that I think worked really well for keeping things dry was the Hobie seat back bag. Now, it's not called that, but the thing here that's on the back of the seat. The really nice thing about that, it's not waterproof, but it did sit high and away from the waterline. So you got that little bit of protection there from the water, and everything I kept in there actually stayed quite dry. I'll put a link to all these products in the description section below, so if you're interested in that stuff, well, it's there for future reference. The other major point that I'm going to stress are about the H-Rails that are on the side of my Lynx. They're Lynx compatible H-Rails, and 100%, I would not buy or use this Lynx without that installed on the side. It does a couple of things for me, but the first is that I think the material handles that on the Lynx are absolute garbage. They're tough to use, and if you install the H-Rails, you've now got a solid handle that goes the length of, almost the length of the kayak, to then get it on top of your car if you're going to car top it. I'll play some footage here of my wife, but you can see she's also carrying the Lynx by those handles here. Now the next 2 points are somewhat related, but they've got to do with the fact that the deck on the Lynx gets wet. So if you've got expensive fishing reels or valuables that are sitting on the deck, it's a surefire way to get salt water into them and then ruin them. By having the H-Rail on the side there, you can mount a rod holder and keep your valuable reel up and out of the water. The other thing that it does, and the third reason, is it creates a bit of a physical barrier there so that if your tackle box or something gets bumped off the side, or you're clumsy like myself and you kick that rod off, there's an opportunity there for the H-Rail to stop anything from going over the side. So if you stuck through all of that for the Lynx giveaway or the Lynx H-Rails, well then this is the bit that you want. First of all, I'll start with the Lynx H-Rails. Now, I was talking to HWS about how important I thought those H-Rails were to the Lynx, and I actually said to them they should come as standard. And the guys at HWS basically said to me, look, what we'll do is we'll make them standard for any one of your viewers. So here's the deal. If you purchase your Lynx through HWS here in Australia, they will throw in a set of H-Rails for you. All you need to do is quote this video if you're talking to them on the phone or in store, or quote the code in the description below if you're making your purchase online, and you'll be good to go. I've said it once and I'll say it again, these deals are only made possible because you guys continue to support the channel and support the people that support the channel. So a big thank you again to you guys and HWS. Now, let's talk about the giveaway. So in 1 week from today, we'll be giving away this Hook Reveal 5-inch sounder. It's brand new, still in the packaging, and I'll be randomly selecting some comments from below. All you need to do is like the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment below on what your favorite kayak is. You don't have to own it, or you could own it, and you're gonna tell me whereabouts that you fished with it, whether that is open ocean, lakes, rivers, creeks. Just tell me broadly about your kayaking experience, and in 1 week, I'll select a random winner. Good luck to all the entries, so get involved. Alright, so let's finish this off. Here are my final thoughts, and there are some big ones. Firstly, if you really enjoy kayaking and you currently own a kayak, then stay with that kayak. I do not recommend that you sell it to then move to a Hobie Lynx. Now, there will be exceptions to that. If you are having issues loading or unloading your current kayak, then it might be an option for you. But in terms of the purest sense of kayaking, where you might cover a fair bit of distance, you're comfortable in a bit of weather, chop, or the waves, well, the Hobie Lynx isn't strong in all of those things. The second point, if you're looking to purchase a kayak specifically for kayak fishing, at a comparable price point, you have the Hobie Compass. That, in my opinion, is the most affordable and best value for money kayak fishing platform that is out there. That kayak, particularly when you consider the distance that you can cover and the in-hull storage, is a much better fishing platform than the Hobie Lynx. The Hobie Lynx will be a great recreational fishing platform, but if you're a serious avid kayak fisherman like me, then the Hobie Compass is the path that I would take every day of the week. My third and probably the most important point is who the kayak is perfect for. And I think this kayak is really, really versatile. I think it's perfect for the family that want a really easy solution to throw on the top of their car to then head out to the water. It's low profile, it doesn't take up a lot of space, and I guess it's also suited for somebody that might be motorhoming or traveling around the country, maybe doing some camping here and there. Now for the family, it suits all the age groups. For the kids, they can jump in and out of the water, do somersaults off the platform, flip it upside down, and just have an awesome time in the shallows. I think when they're done, mum can take over and jump in the seat with a bikini, get a suntan, enjoy some wines, and watch the world go past in a really nice, relaxing break from the family kind of space. When mum is finished with the kayak, dad can jump on with a line and a fishing rod and go fishing for some dinner. I think it's perfect, it's really versatile, and it's a great leisure platform. I hope you enjoyed the video. Remember the giveaway and the Hobie Lynx H-Rails that come free at HWS. Stay safe, I'll see you next time.